Hello, class. Um, I had a student send me this question. It is dealing with the coordinate plane, um, quadrant to be more specific. The question says if the point PQ is in the second quadrant, in which quadrant is the point negative QP? All right, so let's talk through this just a minute. And oops, I am on the wrong screen. So let's talk about this. Let's draw this out for a minute. Let's see if I can minimize the problem just a bit and come over to the side. And I'm just going to sketch out a quadrant plane like we guys know. And this is not going to be pretty. Okay. So when you're talking about a quadrant plane, first of all, let's talk about a few important points on here. This intersection here. Okay, but let's back up just a bit further before I talk about the intersection. This horizontal line going across, we know that is called our x-axis. The vertical line going up and down, we call that our y-axis. Now, where the x-axis and the y-axis meets at 0, 0, that is our origin. Okay. Now, all of these four pieces, each one of these we call quadrants. So let's just talk about really quickly before we address this problem how they are numbered. Right here, this is quadrant 1. To the left is quadrant 2. Come down a bit, that's quadrant 3. And up under here, that is quadrant 4. Now we number them going counterclockwise. And within our quadrants, we have an infinite amount of points. Points just kind of hold a spot for us in these quadrants. And our points or ordered pairs are labeled using an X and a Y. Now, we know that on this side of our x-axis, this right here will be positive x values, okay? On the opposite side of that origin, we will have negative x values. Because of that, if I wanted to write my ordered pair over here, the way I would show that is that now my x values are the opposite, but my y values are the same. And what you notice is my y is positive, so that must mean that up here, up top, I have positive y values. And just because I'm labeling my axis, what I want to do is go ahead and label this bottom part of my y-axis. And if the top is positive, we know that the bottom must be negative down here. All right, so let's use all of this information to determine what my ordered pairs would look like. Now, my ordered pairs in this third quadrant, because I'm still on the left side of the origin on the x-axis, my x values over there are going to be negative, but because I am below the origin, I know that my y values are going to be negative. Okay. In my fourth quadrant, what you notice is I'm now back on the positive side of my x-axis, but my y values are below the origin, so that's negative y. So I did all of that to do this. If I have that information, if I know the general pattern of my ordered pairs, then this problem that I have here should be pretty straightforward for us. So let me pick a color I haven't really used. Well, let's stick with our black. Okay. So it says if the point PQ is in the second quadrant. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put my PQ in my second quadrant. In which quadrant is the point negative Q, P. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this, and I'm going to relate that to what we have down here. So I'm going to say that my PQ is going to be the same as my negative XY, okay? But now it's asking me, what if I had negative QP? So what would that look like? Well, I know my P is the same thing as a negative X, right? So let's look at my ordered pairs. So where I have my P, I could put a negative X. My Q is the same thing as my Y, but I have the opposite of that Y's. So that's going to be a negative Y. So what I'm left with is a negative Y, negative X. And what it really means is I'm going to have an ordered pair where both of my signs are negative. And so what that means for me, where do I have an ordered pair? Or what quadrant, or which one of the quadrants consists of ordered pairs that have both an X and a Y value that's negative? And for us, oops, that should be this third quadrant here.